As if the UK didn't have enough problem with refugees, they've got more coming over. More than 50,000 refugees arrived in the UK after fleeing war in Ukraine. And look at all of them. They're all so happy to be here. And you know what? I'm not going to be too terribly hard on them for the fact that, you know what, hey, they're actually fleeing like a live war zone. So they do deserve safety and security, right? And obviously, but eventually go back when everything all gets done and dusted. Okay, good. Gotcha. Wonderful. More than 50,000 refugees have arrived in the UK, in the UK under Ukraine visa schemes, government figures show. Schemes are actually decent in this context, but we'll continue. Some 53,800 Ukrainian refugees have arrived under the family scheme and Homes for Ukraine sponsorship scheme. As of Monday, the data shows some 107,400 visas, sorry, my brain just stopped working for a moment, have been granted under both schemes, meaning that just over half of those with visas granted have arrived. The rest of them will be on their way. Don't worry about it. This is the first time the number of arrivals has been greater than the number who have been granted visas, but who have not traveled to the UK. Almost 54,000 Ukrainians have now arrived safely in the UK through our Ukrainian schemes. But we are doing all that we can to support new arrivals into work and education so that they can create a life here. And I look forward to welcoming more families to the UK, said Minister of Refugees Lord Harrington. And I want to talk about specifically one Ukrainian refugee who managed to make their way over. Not entirely sure which wave they came over, but they were selected using one of these schemes, okay? They went on .internet and decided to sponsor somebody. You know what? Hey, they wanted to make sure that they wouldn't be undergoing any sort of problem that's out there, because there was enough problems to be had at home. Because we got this story right here, Forbidden Love. I'm a Ukrainian refugee who ran off with a married man who took me in. I could see how unhappy he was with his wife. I just love this story. It's great, it's wonderful, and we can fucking default dance on the corpse that is this dude's former relationship and give good advice for women out there who think that they can treat their man like shit and fucking get away with it. No, sucks to suck, I guess. A Ukrainian refugee who ran off with a dad of two. I feel bad for the kids, but yeah, actually, as long as he's still in their life, you know what? Hey, he deserves happiness as well. After arriving in the UK, she said she could see how unhappy he was with his long-term partner. Sofiia Karkadym, 22, delicious, has welcomed into the Bradford home Tony Garnett shared with Lorna and their children. Yeah, exactly. He was just trying to be a good guy. He was just trying to sponsor a refugee. Nothing wrong with that at all. He was doing his part. He was hashtag standing with Ukraine, or in this instance, laying with Ukraine. But again, honestly, he was obviously taken back by the face, because there's some pictures that are out there that you've probably seen, but probably should have got a full body shot, because there's some problems developing right here. Unless, of course, you know what, he tried to lock down the 22-year-old for good, if you know what I mean, by not wrapping it up and making himself a father of three. But that's besides the point. But hey, just 10 days later, security guard Tony, 29, announced he and Sophia are in love. What a bitch. Oh, God. A way to work this, too, by just using the 22-year-old to influence your current relationship. And hey, you could have had yourself on the way to a nice little harem there, but these fucking serial monogamists. Everybody in this situation sucks, except for the 22-year-old. She's just doing what 22-year-olds do. And they promptly moved into his mom and dad's house together. Pals say Lorna, 29, has been left absolutely devastated by the decision. It's not like she was terrible. Realistically, it's like a lateral move when it comes to looks. You got an upgrade on age and all that shit, but she really sounds like a fucking treat to be around, because we got her side of the story before we go back to this, burgeoning romance. Mom of two whose partner dumped her for a Ukrainian refugee has shared her heartbreak. I feel like breaking out into a default dance right now because this is so great. Lorna Garnett, 28, realized that 6 years matters a whole hell of a lot. Had her reservations about letting a stranger into their home in Bradford, West Yorkshire, but her beloved Tony, I'm sure, because we're going to hear the other side of the story, and her beloved, or her long-term bet on her for picking a fucking dud. He's a security guard at 29 with face tattoos. What the fuck are you thinking, stupid? But trying to lock him down was never going to work. Anyways, his story was, or her recitation of events, was adamant that he joined Facebook groups where Ukrainians were looking for sponsors. Yeah, exactly. And the only one that he could come across was the 22-year-old Ukrainian refugee. Oh, I just need a place to stay for a little bit while Putin bombs my home. If you let me stay at your place, you can bomb my home. After Sofiia Karkadym, 22, who was fleeing the fighting in Lviv, moved in earlier this month, Lorna said that she was shocked to see her wearing low-cut tops to make up for his benefit. Yeah, exactly. Maybe if he would have put in a little bit of effort, he wouldn't have fleed off with her. How about that? You also have a responsibility in this relationship. Sure, he popped out a couple of kids, but guess what? You expect him to provide. He also expects you to provide, so fucking get in line. She set her sights on Anthony from the start. Oh, actually, no. If your recounting is to be believed, he actually set his sights on her to begin with. Anyways, decided she wanted him, and she took him. Well, if you would have been a good sport about this, y'all could have shared each other. She said she didn't care about the devastation that was left behind. Yes, everything is all about you. I can see why they ran for the hills. Everything I knew has been turned on its head in the space of 2 weeks. No, 10 days. Get your shit together. Looks like you're so devastated you forgot how to do math. According to Lorna, Sophia wore no makeup, but wore no makeup, did not do her hair, and made no effort with her appearance during the day. Yeah. When he's not home, when he's out working. But she said that changed at 5 p.m. when Tony was due to come home. That's a good woman. That's the sign of a good woman. What the fuck? Exactly. Maybe you should have been taking fucking notes, stupid. She claimed she would come downstairs with red lippy lipstick. We don't need to get into too many intimate details. With her hair done and wearing low-cut tops. Hey, greet him after a hard day's work. Is it that hard? You wouldn't have lost your husband if you would have put in a little fucking effort. See, look at how happy they are. Again, dude, you should have just spun plates instead of just running away with somebody, because now you're giving up all your leverage too for just absolutely nothing for a Ukrainian, let's be honest, 5 maybe. At first, I told myself I was imagining it, her being irrationally jealous, but sadly, I was right all along. Exactly. Me, feel bad for me. IT manager Sophia flew into Manchester. She got flued out, nice, on May 4th and went to live with a couple who had been together for 8 years. Yeah, exactly. You started slipping. It looks like Buddy was staying in good shape, okay? And he was still that renegade that you thought that you could lock down with a couple of kids, but trust me, if the situation was flipped, if it was a woman sponsoring a male Ukrainian refugee and ran after, oh my god, I was being abused by my husband because he wasn't paying me so much, and it's just all of my advances and all of my home-cooked meals were going unappreciated at home, and I didn't feel loved at all. There'd be so many glowing reviews of that situation, but this one, oh no, she's just a home-wrecking Jezebel. Get fucked. Well, actually, you can't because your husband left. Tony, who works for NHS Drop-In Center, said the pair just clicked. Yeah, exactly. She was young. His wife sucked. Now they're all better off. Oh, except for her, but fuck her. And got on really well, partly because he could speak Slovakian, which is similar to Ukrainian. Maybe? I'm not entirely sure about that. Like, my heritage is Ukraine very heavily on my mother's side. I've never heard anybody speak Slovakian, but I have heard Ukrainian. Can't speak a lick, but it's from the same region. It would make sense. Some sort of shared Slavic ancestry. Anyways, this left Lorna not understanding. Oh, yeah, of course, a woman taking accountability. What did you expect? This was just going to go completely and utterly unaccounted for. Oh, what they were talking about and feeling like, oh, she felt like, wonderful. Third wheel, her suspicions only worsened. Within days, tensions rose as the two grew closer, staying up late at night to watch TV together while Lorna went to bed. Okay, if she's helping you with everything around the house during the day, because it didn't really sound like she just, lounged about with no makeup and her hair not done and, wearing just fucking babushkas all the time. Okay, I'm sure she was probably helping out because she was so happy to to not having to worry about her roof collapsing in at any time. Now, because she's taken off with Tony, her basement could be collapsing at any time, if you know what I mean. Both Tony and Sophia said that they were that they were getting on brilliantly. It remained innocent at this time. But a neighbor warned Lorna, oh, this fucking busybody, after she spotted the two talking intimately outside the house. What are you talking about? Finally, she snapped and kicked Sophia out. Oh, what a bitch! Somebody was getting jealous. This is, by the way, just another example of how they want men to communicate, but they can't do it at all. Then Tony told his partner, if she's going, I'm going. Yeah, it really looks like, yeah, she was a homewrecker in this situation. You were getting jealous. You kicked him out. Now you get to suffer the consequences. So that's her side of the story. Okay? This charming woman, I'm sure she was just a fucking wonderful person to be around at all times. Now let's hear the poor Ukrainian side of the story. Sophia, who fled the city of Lviv at the start of the war, says that she now feels safe with Tony in the UK. As soon as I saw him, I fancied him, she said. It's been very quick, but our love is a true story. I know people will think badly of me, but it happens. I don't. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, what your biology programmed you to do. Take the security at the time, make your long-term bet from there. And he was like, 22-year-old blonde? Bet. And Tony said the pair are now dreaming of their futures together. Ah, wonderful. Great. Love to see a man take control of his life again. But again, the only criticism I have of him so far is, why are you getting into another long-term relationship? Anyways, we're planning the rest of our life together, he told the Sun. What a fucking whatever. We're sorry for the pain we've caused, but I've discovered a connection with Sophia like I've never had before. I know people will think this happened so fast, but Sophia and I know that it's right. It began with a simple desire for me to do the right thing and put a roof over the head of someone in need, a man or a woman. I'm sure you were checking out those Facebook groups looking for, a 22-year-old dude, okay, to sponsor to bring over. And I'm sure you were also, trolling the sections where you'd be finding a bunch of, gray hairs or, some of those dumpy broads with a fucking wig on. I'm sure you were looking in those sites just as intimately as well. Let's be fucking, keep it 100 here, my guy. Tony signed up for the government refugee homing scheme as Russia's invasion of Ukraine intensified. There's so much to unpack there, but whatever. But he found the application process too slow and took to social media to offer help. Aha, there it is. Confirmation. It looks like the ex-girlfriend? Whatever. Looks like she was right. Tony, who works at the NHS drop-in center, was introduced to Sophia on Facebook and offered to become her UK sponsor. IT manager Sophia traveled to Berlin, where she waited weeks for a UK visa to go through. Wow. Unlike many other refugees to the UK, she actually went through the proper channels. Huh, weird. Another sign of a good girl. She listens to instruction. She eventually flew into Manchester on May 4th and moved in with Tony and Lorna in West Yorks. However, tensions quickly built. Tony moved his 6-year-old daughter from her room into a bunk bed with her 3-year-old sister. Yeah, because it would have been a little bit awkward to have his daughter with, new roommate. That just makes a little bit more sense, okay? Moving into a bunk bed despite Lorna's objections. What, did you want her to sleep on the couch? Oh man, if he was being suave, he could have just said that, yeah, no, she can stay in our room. You can get tattoos, but this guy can't get game. What's wrong with you? Tony and Sophia grew closer before Lorna ordered her to leave. It was obvious from the start that Sophia and I just clicked. I speak a little Slovakian, which is not too dissimilar to Ukrainian, so that I was able to make myself understood in her language. But if anything, made things worse because Lorna didn't know what we were talking about. Sophia and I would sit and chat, have a drink, and watch TV with Ukrainian subtitles sometimes after Lorna had gone to bed. Yeah, he didn't want her to feel lonely or anything like that. We were getting on brilliantly, but at the time it was more than that, although I can see why Lorna started to feel jealous and resentful of her. Sophia began accompanying Tony to the gym in Bradford. Hey, see what's up? Exactly. That's a good girl right there. That's exactly how you retain a man. You take interest in what he's passionate about, okay? So yeah, they started going to the gym together. They would work out together and then sit talking in the car on the top floor of a multi-story car park. Well, knowing what I know when it comes to exercise, there's some hormones that are going to be flowing, and I'm sure that they were just sitting in a car together on the top floor of a multi-story car park, all alone. I'm sure that's exactly that happened. Just talking, just some sort of rough translation between some broken Slovakian and fucking Ukrainian. I'm sure that's all that happened. Let's keep it 100. Tony said I knew something was happening between us, and that Sophia felt the same. Yeah, exactly. She felt like, I don't want to go back to Warzone. I want to stay here with tattoo men. It was something neither of us could stop. We would sit in the car after going to the gym. Right. Well, she would sit on something that resembled the gear shift, and unfortunately, they just couldn't move. Laughing as we looked across the city. At home, I realized we were finding excuses to touch and brush up against each other. It was very flirtatious, but nothing more than that at that stage. Although I was fairly innocent, it was causing arguments. I can understand that. I can't. Again, just fucking figure it out. When I got in at night, Sophia would be the one who had made me a meal. Oh, it made a meal for me to try. So what? He's out working all day. Lorna's there, okay? She's not cooking, but Sophia is? Exactly. She's playing the game, okay? Lorna, who changed her surname to, by deed poll to match Tony's, but is not married to him, was becoming increasingly angry. Yeah, instead of stepping up her game, she was just going to try to tear down everyone around her and ruin everyone's life. Tony continued, she started to get very jealous and was having major arguments with Sophia, asking her why she was with me all the time and why are you following him around. Probably because you guys speak different languages and at least he's making an effort. Probably something to do with that. The atmosphere was getting really bad, and Sophia told me that she didn't know whether she could continue to live with us under these circumstances. Yeah, no shit, you're getting berated by this very loving woman all the time. Lorna was never that enthusiastic about having a refugee in our home because it meant the girls had to move into one room. Wait, they were daughters? I thought I read that sister and brother. What the fuck? But seeing that they were becoming too close, was too much. It came to a head last Saturday when she really went for Sophia, yelling at her, using some harsh language that left her in tears. Oh, you hate to see it. She said she didn't feel like she could stay under our roof anymore, and something inside me clicked. I told Lorna if she's going, I'm going. I knew I couldn't give up on her, and all of a sudden it seemed like a no-brainer. Well, you could have just kicked Lorna out, and you guys just could have been like, tell your kids, hey, this is nice mommy now, and we're all going to learn how to speak Ukrainian. It'll be wonderful. We packed our bags and moved into my mom and dad's house together. Okay. The fact that they could just walk into their parents' house and it's like, hi, here's my new girlfriend, and parents didn't seem to care all that much, leads me to believe that Lorna here might have been a bit of a cunt. Just thinking about it. A couple have started viewing properties, concentrating on trendy city center apartments, and have begun applying for permanent visa for Sophia. Okay, another point for this guy, he's not immediately marrying her to keep her in the country, so maybe he's got a little bit of game. And maybe he's back on those social media websites, just seeing if he can find a 21-year-old. Just keeping his options open. Tony said, I'm sorry for what Lorna is going through. I'm sorry about that. This was not her fault. It was a lot of it was her fault. And is nothing about anything that she did wrong. Never set out to do this. It wasn't planned, and we didn't mean to hurt anyone. Listen, dude, just fucking come clear here. Keep it a stack, okay? You're no longer in a relationship with this horrific bitch. I'll just come out here and say that. If you were being kept happy in your relationship, it seems like you were providing, okay? You were keeping up your end of the bargain, but she wasn't, cooking for you, okay? Because that was something that immediately Sophia came in and decided to rectify. She didn't have to be told to do this type of stuff, and she was looking good by the time that you came home after a hard day's work. It's not that fucking hard, okay? Especially if you have all that fucking free time. If he's taking care of all of the bills, all of the worries, the least you can do is look good and have a meal ready for the man when he comes home. How about that, okay? If you weren't providing that, if you were just snapping at somebody who was doing that, knowing that you weren't keeping up your end of the fucking bargain, you deserve to be out on your ass like that, make as many excuses as you want. Oh, this trifling bitch from the Ukraine. I wish Putin had a bigger missile. There's a lot of good lessons to learn here, okay? Chief among them, there's two different types of game because men and women are fucking different, okay? A man's game is getting a woman. Looks like Tony was pretty successful 2 times over, okay? He's got a couple of kids. He has to figure out that fucking situation, okay? Because you don't want 2 women in a decade's time in a bad situation with a scorned woman raising them, okay? You got to fucking figure that shit out first and foremost, okay? But he got 2 women. His part of the game was over, okay? And he was keeping himself in shape. He was providing. And then on the other side, what's the woman's game? Retaining the man. Lorna couldn't do that. Sophia did. Sophia started to take interest in what Tony was all about, okay? She started to go to the gym, okay? She was looking good for him when he came home, had meals cooked for him, okay? It was just, you know what, hey, watching TV with him, spending time with him, not being an interruption, okay? Being an asset to his life. That's how you retain a man. It's not fucking hard, okay? Be likable, be agreeable, be attractive, okay? I won't say that she's beautiful or anything. She's fine for sure. Doing it for him, apparently. But you don't need to have movie star good looks to get into a fucking relationship. All you need to do is just fulfill the basic requirements. Be friendly, be agreeable, and just do your fucking job in the relationship. Simple as. Sucks to suck. Lorna, I don't know, buy a cat or something. With all of that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.